Shall we wait or shall we start?
Totally up to you.
Right.
I can wait a few more minutes. It's no problem.
Okay.
It's only just 12 o'clock on my time now, so just 8 o'clock your time. So we can wait a couple of minutes.
All right. So I think we can wait about 2 to 3 minutes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are you teaching, Miss Chris?
No, I'm not at the moment. So normally what I do is I actually look after the Young Leaders program. And I look after other groups that come to campus over winter and summer. So high school groups between 14 and 17 years of age.
Okay.
Yeah. But obviously things have been a bit different during the lockdown. So I'm helping Ben's team with some of their activities overseas.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, since that you have been several times to Indonesia, can you recognize some Indonesian words?
Oh, look, I can know that it's selamat pagi.
Okay.
And I can say good and thank you and a few words. I wish I could say more, but yeah, it's just some basic words.
All right. Apa kabar? You know.
Yeah, very good. Bike.
Well, I heard that there are some Australian slang which are very unique also.
Very, very much so. We have a lot of very Australian words. And often it's really interesting because people who are American even have trouble understanding some of the slang.
Yeah.
It's very unique to Australia.
Yeah.
And I do have a very strong Australian accent. And sometimes I know that I can talk a little bit quickly.
Okay.
So it's just a case of getting used to the language. But yeah, there are some different words.
Like the most popular greeting words are "G'day, mate." Is it true? G'day,
no,
mate.
I don't say that. Probably some
Oh.
people might, but no, I don't say that.
It's very popular in Indonesia. Like people always say "G'day, mate." Then they say that it's from Australia.
Yeah, no. Some people may say that, but no, it's not something that I would say.
So what do you say?
I say a lot of hi.
Hi. Okay.
Hi. So that's probably one of the things that I would say.
Okay.
But yeah. It's always interesting what words get picked up that are popular.
I see.
And obviously a lot of people say, about the kangaroos and, do you have kangaroos that come into the city and, a lot of things like that. And we don't, but we obviously have kangaroos that you can go and see that aren't far out of the city, like about an hour and a half drive. But so, yeah, that's always interesting.
But do you eat kangaroo?
No, I don't, but you can. You can eat kangaroo. Apparently it's very good for you. It's a very lean meat. So it's actually a healthy choice, but no, I do not.
Okay.
I can't quite do that. Okay.
Okay. It's been 4 minutes past 8. I think we can start now.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do for the students today is to just talk a little bit about Trinity College as a pathway through to the University of Melbourne. And then I'll spend a little bit of time talking about the University of Melbourne and answering any questions that you may have. You're welcome to put questions into the chat. Feel free to do that. Has anybody ever been to Melbourne or have family in Melbourne? You're welcome to pop it into the chat if you know it, if you've ever been to Melbourne. It's okay if you're a little bit shy, but we'll use the chat function as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with sharing my screen. And the first thing I'm going to do is to show a video. So just bear with me for 2 ticks to make sure that I can get this going. And it might be somebody that you actually have seen before, but let's yell at if it's not working. Let's see how we go.
Last year was a great year. My foundation studies year at Trinity College was a real turning point for me. Living in a different country, a whole lot of new friends. Now the year at New York. Wow, a lot. Is right out the front. Trinity helped find my accommodation off campus. And it's just a walk through a gate to get to the uni. It made my life so much easier. Everything else is so close too. The Victoria Market's just the road. There's all sorts of restaurants close by, and lots of parks and gardens. It is such a multicultural place, and the people are so friendly. Looking back, I didn't know much about Melbourne when I arrived. But now, I really feel at home here. I remember the first thing I did was join one of the student clubs. There was so much on offer. I was always going to choose the cinema. It was so much fun to know all those classes I did. It was hard work, but so rewarding. And of course, drama was my favorite. I love acting, and the teachers were so cool. Just being part of the group, it taught me so much. History of ideas is another subject I loved. It was always in the auditorium. Such a great place to learn.
Hey guys!
Hi Chelsea, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing great. I'm about to head off to uni now.
Oh, okay.
So I'll see you guys later.
See you later. Bye. See you.
It's hard to believe we all met just last year and are now at uni together. I was so lucky I managed to get a scholarship to both Trinity and the University of Melbourne. It really made it possible for me to study here. It's such a beautiful college. The old buildings mixed in with the new, the facilities in the classrooms and the common areas. I've met so many people here. There was always student support if I had any problems, and the mentoring program was fantastic. It was a great decision to come to Trinity. I worked really hard and it paid off. I got the grades, met the requirements, and that meant I could get into the University of Melbourne. I've been here a little while now, and I can see why it's ranked #1 in Australia. Cool location, right next to Trinity. It's awesome.
Okay, so that's just an example that has 2 of the students, which has Chelsea and Chelsea and Jed as well, who were 2 of the students. So what I'm going to do now is just to share my screen again and just go through a brief presentation. Like I said before, sometimes I can speak a bit quickly. So by all means, if you've got any questions at any time, feel free to ask, okay? So let's just do this one. Okay, so you should be able to see the screen at the moment, and it's got a picture of the Trinity buildings that obviously that Jed and Chelsea were both walking through. This next slide here just shows about the pathway options. So for students like yourselves that are doing the national curriculum, you will need to do a foundation program in order to go into the undergraduate degree at the University of Melbourne. The alternate pathway is just shows you there for students who have done their A level and their IB. So what we're going to talk about are these steps, if you like, to get you through to the University of Melbourne. This is a picture of the campus for the University of Melbourne, and you can see there it's all in the dark green. It's a very large campus. It probably takes a good 20 minutes to half an hour to walk from one end to the other end. And right at the very back there, you have the Central Business District. So it's about a 10-minute walk into the main parts of town. And you can see here that we've got Trinity College on campus, which is one of the benefits of the program, because students get to use the facilities. Like Chelsea said, you just walk through a gate to get to the University of Melbourne. And it gets an opportunity for students to be comfortable about being on campus. The Trinity Foundation program has been designed by academics from the University of Melbourne, and they oversee the program today. And the idea is for the program to be set up in a way that it's structured like university. And the reason why they've done that is that they would like it to be a smooth transition for students going in from foundation program to the university. So what this means is that students do a mixture of what we call lectures, and this is an example of a lecture theatre with a large number of students, like what Chelsea said about going and doing history of ideas in a lecture theatre. And so that's where you have the teacher down the front and the students together, and it's about providing that information for students. Then what happens is that students then do what we call tutorials. At Trinity, they're smaller, they're groups of 15, or labs, which are groups of 15. And that lecture and tutorial style of delivery is exactly the same as what you'll get at the University of Melbourne. So the idea is that with the foundation program, it's to build skills for students so when they go and enter into the University of Melbourne that they are successful. And so often students, for example, in Indonesia, they're very used to the teacher being up the front and it being very much one way, if you like, learning and the teacher giving you the information and students writing it down. When you go to university, it's all about the student taking responsibility for their own learning and being very active and participating in their learning. So when you go to university, you might be asked to do, say, an essay for 2,000 words. You need to know how to research. You need to learn how to put things into your own words, how to look at things from different perspectives, and also being able to write in an academic format, which includes referencing. So there's some of the skills that you'll learn at Trinity. The other thing that happens when students go to university is that you may be asked to get up in front of a class and either do an individual or a group presentation. So when you're at Trinity, it's really important that we help you with those skills so you feel confident in getting up and speaking, obviously in English, and that you are comfortable in being able to work in a part of a group. So there's some of the skills that you'll gain when you go through to Trinity. With the Trinity program, basically what happens is that students do 5 subjects, okay? 2 of the subjects are what we call core subjects, and you can see here that one of them is English, okay? By core, it means that it's a compulsory subject, so every student must do it. With English, what happens is it's broken up into 3 parts. You'll see there English literature, drama, and what we call English for academic purposes. So those 3 elements make up the English. Chelsea mentioned before that obviously she enjoyed drama. Lots of students don't necessarily want to participate in the subject called drama, but at the end, it's often one of the most favourite subjects. The other compulsory subjects that students do is what we call history of ideas, and that's going to help you with your critical analysis, learning about doing research and helping you to develop your independence as a learner. Then what will happen is that students need to select 3 electives, okay? And you can see that there's 11 there for you to choose from. And it's important to know what you might be interested in studying in at University of Melbourne, because if there's any prerequisites that you need to do in order to get entry into the program. So moving on to the next slide here, you can see here, these are the main undergraduate degrees that are run at the University of Melbourne. And I'll talk a little bit more about their programs a bit later on. But you can see here, let's say that you're interested in doing something like commerce, and you're interested in getting into business. You might want to do something like finance or marketing at university. That would be done through the Bachelor of Commerce. You would need to get a score of 86 to get in a guaranteed place into that program. You obviously would need to complete the core units at Trinity, and then you would need to also select as one of your electives Mathematics 1, okay? The only difference is if you're interested in doing actuarial studies, you would need to make sure that you selected not only Mathematics 1 as an elective, but also Mathematics 2, okay? So a student who is interested in doing, say, finance and marketing at Melbourne Uni, they would need to select Mathematics 1 as one of their electives, and they would then select another 2 electives, okay, from the list here. Often students will select subjects that will complement what they're going to be studying at uni. So you might pick economics or accounting or both of them. Other students will decide that they'd like to do something that they're interested in, and they might say do Mathematics 1, economics, and they may in fact say select psychology. So students do 5 subjects, 2 compulsory, 3 electives, and you need to make sure that you know what any prerequisites are that you need to do to get into your undergraduate degree that you'd like to get into. Have we got any questions today? Feel free to pop them into the chat if you'd like to, okay? There are different length programs when you come to Trinity, okay? And the length program depends on what your results are and what you can gain entry into. So you can see here, this is an example of our standard program. It runs for 10 months. We have 2 intakes. So we have a group of students who will be commencing with us in February 2022. They will finish in December 2022, and then they will commence at the University of Melbourne in February 2023. Okay, so 2 intakes, it goes for 10 months. Melbourne Uni has 2 semesters, okay? So their first semester commences at the end of February, beginning of March, and goes through to June. And then their second semester commences in July and finishes at the end of November. So the students who are at Melbourne Uni at the moment are just starting their exam period, and that will take them through up to about the 20th of November. They then go on their summer break. So that's what we call our standard program, okay? We then have a fast track program, which is a slightly shorter program. And you can see there that you'll need a higher average with your SMA 3 results and a higher band with IELTS. Once again, 2 intakes. So we had a group of students who started with us in September. They will be with us until June 2022. And then they will start at the University of Melbourne in July 2022. We then have a longer length program for students with SMA 2. You can see here, it's a lower IELTS score. So basically there is more assistance for students who need help with English and with maths. You can see there, once again, 2 intakes. We have one coming up in January. The students will be with us until December 2022. And then they will start in February 2023, which seems a long time away, but it really isn't. So they're the different lengths of programs that we have, okay? They're based on your entry requirements, so the scores that you have with your curriculum and your English level. Okay, standard, fast track, and comprehensive. At the moment, what's happening is that obviously we're running everything online, and that will happen until the borders are open and students have an opportunity to come back to Australia. And you can see program that we offer, which is basically where every student's allocated a mentor as their go-to person. The other thing that's important is obviously counselling and support for all of our students. That's whether they're online or on campus. And the third component there is in regard to having our academics available for consultations with our students, able to assist them with any questions that they may have. These are the details for Ben, who looks after the Indonesian market. So they're there for you, or if you've got any general inquiries. The other thing is that we've just finished a series of Trinity talks. The last one was actually the Monday just been. That's the link there. You actually can go and log on, and they're all up there for students to have a look at, just so you can see a little bit about what it's like to be in a class at Trinity. And there were topics, everything from looking at how we see colour. We did topics on philosophy. We did topics on media and communication. There was one on for an accounting stock market sort of focus as well. So they're up there and students can watch them at any time. Okay, have we got any questions? You don't need to be shy.
Any questions, students?
Okay, so what I'm going to do, that's okay if you don't, what I'm going to do is to talk about the University of Melbourne. What would be really helpful is, have any students got any ideas as to what they'd like to study when they go to university? Can you pop that in the chat or say out loud? Any ideas of any particular courses that you might be interested in? Anything that you've been thinking that you'd like to study? Oh my goodness, come on, we just need a couple of ideas. Anybody like to put something in that they're thinking that they'd like to study at university?
Maybe I should talk to them a bit in Indonesia.
Absolutely, go for it.
Kalian ditanya, kalian tuh mau mikir mau belajar apa? Ada nggak kepikiran nanti mau belajar apa di uni gitu? Jawablah, jangan malu-malu. Ini praktek bahasa Inggris nih, ayo. Jawablah ya. Nanti yang bisa nanti saya kasih tambahan nilai bahasa Inggrisnya deh untuk anak kelas 12.
Okay, Miss.
Yes.
Yes, Handi.
Economics major.
You'd like to do economics. Thank you, Handy. Yep, brilliant. Anybody else like to share what they're interested in studying at university? We've got somebody, thank you, Novi. We've got somebody interested in management. Fantastic. Anything else that anybody would like me to focus on? If you don't feel comfortable doing it now, we can have a little look at. Lenny, was there any slides that you needed me to go back to that you might need to translate, or are we okay to go ahead?
Maybe after the locations of the university, the program.
After I've spoken about Melbourne Uni? Okay,
yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so Novi's got management and Hendy had economics, so I can talk about those two. Okay, so what I'm going to talk briefly is, now that we've spoken about that pathway that Trinity can give you to the University of Melbourne, I'll just go through you a little bit about the University of Melbourne. And basically for the University of Melbourne, it has students from over 150 plus countries, and obviously a number of international students, and we do have a number of students from Indonesia as well. So the University of Melbourne is ranked #1 in Australia and currently number 33 in the world. And you can see here, it's also ranked #8 in global employability, which I'll talk about in a moment for you. For the international students, students from Trinity make up about 1 in 4 international students at the university. So we obviously have a large cohort that goes on to the University of Melbourne. This bit about the graduate outcome and employability is a ranking that obviously the university is really proud of. And basically what it refers to is students when they finish their degree, they could then go on and get a job, okay? And so it's about that employment that you get post your degree. So it is a result that they're very proud of. Some other rankings that people might be interested in, and I know that one of our students said they were interested in, you can see here it's number 30 in the world. They are also ranked obviously highly in that accounting and finance area, number 18. You can see here law 11. So there's a range, and that management that Novi was interested in, they ranked 26. So that's just some of the rankings for you by subject area. So the program at, or the degree at University of Melbourne is a little bit different, and it's similar to the US and the UK model in the sense that what happens is that students do a 3-year undergraduate degree. They can then exit at the end of that and go into employment, or they go on to a graduate program. And so what happened, it's probably 10 plus years ago now, the University of Melbourne moved a lot of their programs that required some sort of registration or licensing, and they moved them onto their professional master's programs. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some options there. One of the great things about the Melbourne Uni program is they have what they call these depth and breadth. And you can see here the depth is 75%. So when a student selects their subjects, 75% is actually within their particular area of study, okay? So within their faculty and their discipline. Then what happens is that students can actually select up to 25% that's actually outside of their discipline. And the idea is to give students an opportunity to follow things that they're passionate about, or they may find are going to complement what they are going to study. So for example, somebody might be doing like the management or economics and deciding that they want to do a language, okay? Or they may decide that they'd like to pick up more psychology subjects, or they may decide that they want to pick up IT subjects. So that could be made up of their breadth subjects, so it's outside of their discipline. So when I'm talking about these graduate programs and their professional careers, this is the way that Melbourne Uni does those. So for example, if a student is wanting to do, say, become a vet, they would do an undergraduate degree for 3 years in either agriculture, biomedicine or science. They would then go on and do their Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, and that would take 3 or 4 years depending on your pathway. So what it would mean is that you would end up with a bachelor of something, and then you would end up with a Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. You can see here how medicines run as well. Lots of people are used to going in and doing a medicine degree at university. What happens at Melbourne University is you go in and do an undergraduate degree, and then you go on and do 4 years for your Doctor of Medicine, okay? Here's some other examples. So let's say you're interested in becoming an engineer. Once again, you would do an undergraduate degree, and you have a couple of different pathways: biomedicine, design, or science. You would select an engineering major, and then you could go on and do your Masters of Engineering, okay? So it would be that 3+2+3 model. Same thing with architecture. It's now run as the graduate program. So you do a Bachelor of Design with a major of architecture, and then you would, after you finish that, you would do a graduate degree, okay, in a Masters of Architecture. So it's a little bit different to other universities in Melbourne. So for example, you might go and do a 4-year Bachelor of Engineering. Melbourne Uni doesn't do it that way. They're offered as a graduate program pathway. So what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about some of the undergraduate degrees, and that's why I was interested to hear from our students as to what you might be interested in doing. And so far, the 2 students have mentioned areas within the Bachelor of Commerce. So I'll concentrate on that one first. And then if anybody has any questions about some of the other areas, I can go back and talk about. But you can see here that each of the Bachelor programs have a number of different majors that students can select. And what we're going to do is to talk about the Bachelor of Commerce. So just bear with me 2 ticks and I'll find the Bachelor of Commerce. Here we go. So let's say a student is interested in doing economics, or the other student was interested in doing management. They would be done through the Bachelor of Commerce at the University of Melbourne. So they have the different majors that you want to do. So therefore, like for example, with management, you obviously can do it either as a major or two majors, and you can select a combination. The only degree that you can't do two majors in the Bachelor of Commerce is actuarial studies, and that's because of the load that's involved, but the other ones that you can. So you can see here the different areas. So what you can actually do, and I haven't got it for economics or management, but this is an example of what we call a course plan. And this happens for every one of our students. And you can actually look at them online, and I can show you some examples if we have time. But this is an example of a student who actually wants to do an accounting and a finance double major. And you can see here the compulsory subjects. So these are these ones in the light beige colour, and they're ones that all Bachelor of Commerce students would do. So even our two students who said they were interested in economics and management, you would still need to do the core compulsory subjects. Then what happens is that students, these breadth subjects that I spoke about before, this student has decided that they'd like to do some law subjects from the law faculty, obviously thinking that they will complement what they're studying. So they've picked up some law subjects. The student then has those double majors, finance and accounting, and you can see here the accounting subjects are in the darker purple, and then you have the light purple for their finance major. So that just shows you what happens over the 3 years. You do 4 subjects each semester. Each semester is made up of each year is made up of 2 semesters. And so that would be your total load or total program that you would do if you were doing the Bachelor of Commerce with a major in accounting and finance. Okay, has anybody got any other courses that they might be interested in that you'd like me to talk through?
Ya, kalian punya apa mau belajar apa mau dijelaskan apa nggak tentang jurusan yang kalian tertarik? Dari sini kira-kira ada nggak yang mau kalian tanya lebih lanjut tentang jurusan yang kalian suka? Ada. William gimana William? Maria Nancy gimana?
Miss,
Ya,
Yes.
how can I get scholarship at Trinity College?
Sure. So the way that scholarships, and I can talk about it for both Melbourne and for Trinity. For Trinity, what we have is what we call fee remission scholarships up to 50%. And basically how they're allocated is what we call on academic merit, which means that we look at your results, okay? And we offer the scholarships to the top students. There is no separate application form. Every student who applies to Trinity is considered for a scholarship, okay? Melbourne Uni also has scholarships, okay? And we can go through some of those in a moment. Their scholarships also are academic merit. So what that means is they look at the results of all their students who are taking all different curriculum, and then they offer the scholarships to those students. So I think in that video before you would have seen Jed, okay, and he was one of the students. So Jed was actually a student who received a Trinity scholarship, and then he actually received a Melbourne Uni scholarship. So it is based on your results as to whether or not you get allocated a scholarship, and there's no separate application fee, okay? It is highly competitive, yeah. Any other questions? Or any other course that anybody's interested in looking at?
What about for the students who want to get a diploma 1 or 2? Just now I saw that there is specialized program. It's only for 1 year. Is it considered the diploma 1?
No. So that's the 1 year program at Trinity. Yeah. So it's just considered a foundation program.
I see.
It's just a longer length program for students who need more assistance with maths and English. Okay. So the programs for University of Melbourne would be 3 years. And then if you're wanting to go on and get a professional master's, then it would be an additional program on top. Okay, any other examples of any other courses that people are interested in? Everybody's so shy and quiet. What we might do is I might look at science just to show you the range of different areas that students can do. Let's just see if I can go. So this is the one with the Bachelor of Science, and on that slide I showed before, it has over 40 majors that students can select. So you can see here that it's quite broad, anything from engineering to maths to the life sciences. The other one that's really important, popular at the moment, is the area of IT. And IT at Melbourne can be done through different pathways. It can be done through the Bachelor of Design with different majors, or this one here, which is the Computer and Software Systems, Data Science and Spatial Systems through IT. This is an example, once again, of a student who is has selected to do a Bachelor of Science, and their major is going to be in IT, and they are looking at computing and software systems. So once again, you can see the major subjects in this one is in the light purpley grey colour. Their electives from their science degree are in the green colour, and then you can see their breadth subjects. And in this example, this student has selected to do breadth subjects that are actually in the Commerce faculty and on that area of management and organisational behaviour. So they've obviously seen it as something that will complement their studies. There's over 1,000 different breadth subjects that students can select from the University of Melbourne. Okay, so it's quite broad in regard to what you can do. Any other ones that people would like me to go through with students?
I think there's one student here who is interested in IT.
Yes.
Oh yeah, William. I know the name is William, and he told me like yesterday or 2 days ago that he loved doing IT. Where is William? Are you there? Okay, there is. William, do you have any questions?
And also I interesting in design.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'll do is I'll just thank you, William. I'll go through and just have a little chat about the Bachelor of Design, just so you can see about how broad it is. So you can see here in the Bachelor of Design, and this is where they also have a computing component as well, but it's always also where students can do things for if they're interested in architecture, engineering as well, and the graphic design and urban planning. So it has a number of different majors that students can select from there. This is just an example of a student who's doing science through the Bachelor of Design, and what they've selected is graphic design and digital technologies. So it has that sort of design component that you might be interested in, William. And once again, it has the different color coding with the different majors and what you would need to do with your subjects. And then on the right-hand side, their breadth subjects, they've actually selected from commerce as well, and they're going to be doing marketing and also some painting techniques, whatever that may be. But you can see here, it's got quite a broad range, and then it's got everything from that web information technology to game design as well. Okay, so a couple of different ways that you can do the information technology computing at Melbourne, either through the Bachelor of Design or the Bachelor of Science. Just really depends on what area that you might be interested in. Did anybody have any other one that they would like me to go through or give you more information on a course at Melbourne?
I see there's game design there. I think a lot of students here like to play games.
Correct. It's very popular here as well. And I really, it's an area of growth, that whole computer and technology and the gaming, etc. And so there's some different opportunities for students to look at that as well. What I might do is I might pop a couple of things in the chat that we can look at. So what I'll do is I'll stop sharing my screen now. And like I said, if you've got any other questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. I'm not scary by any means. I'm happy to answer any of those. Let me just see what I've got here for you. These are some interesting links that you might find useful. And so for somebody like William, who's interested in doing computer science, and like I said, it's done through different ways at Melbourne Uni, I'll pop in a link there for you that just shows you how you can study computer science at Melbourne. One of the ones that obviously your students have said that they're interested was in regard to the Bachelor of Commerce. So I'll pop an information in regard to Bachelor of Commerce. The other one that's interesting always is there's some really good videos on the Melbourne Uni website, and this is one that talks about career paths for students, which is quite interesting. What I might do is, because we've got some time, unless anybody's got any other questions, I might just go through and show you in regard to looking at more information on the web. Just bear with me for 2 ticks. Let's see if I can get this to go across. There we go.
Miss?
Yes.
Is it allowed to work during undergrad studies?
Yeah, it is. Basically, there's a restriction. Okay, so students can work up to 20 hours a week, and they can work more hours over the school holidays and the breaks. And so that's not a problem. I think the focus, obviously, for us is always to make sure that students know that their studies need to come first, and you need to focus your energies on that. But yes, you can do part-time work as well. Okay. What I'll do is I'll just share my screen, and we might go through this one here. Let's see if we've got that. So this is the Bachelor of Commerce that a couple of students, they said they were interested in economics, and Novi said she was interested in management. What I'm going to do is just go through where you can find some more information. So this is actually quite interesting, and this is that sample course plan that I showed you before. And you can actually select the different majors that you're in studying. So once again, that's the core units that you have to do as part of your Bachelor of Commerce, and then it gives you the opportunity to do your different majors. So for our student who said they were interested in economics, you can click on the economics. It will take you into that particular course, and then it gives you more information, and it will go through about what you will study. And then it will actually give you a course plan if you were to do an economics major. Okay, so you can actually go through and have a little bit more information at this. Okay, it's quite interesting to do. The other thing that if you're interested in finding out more information, I quite like this one. So let's say that you were looking at doing a Bachelor of Commerce. You would need to obviously complete the core subjects. And so one of their subjects is Introductory to Microeconomics. If you actually click on this little icon here, it will take you through to the course handbook. And this will happen for each of the subjects that you go in and have a look at. So this is the Introductory to Microeconomics. It's a compulsory subject for all students who are doing the Bachelor of Commerce. This is a great little thing because it will actually go through and tell you what the outcomes for the subject is. So you can have a look at doing those and what skills you'll get. This is the other one that's quite interesting. You can actually click on assessment, okay? And will actually tell you how you're going to be assessed in that subject. And you can see here, for you to pass this particular subject, Introductory Microeconomics, you will need to do an assignment for 1,000 words. It's due in week 6, and it's worth 15% of your marks. You then do another individual written assignment, also worth 15 marks. You also have to obviously attend your tutorials and participate, that's worth 10 marks. you then have to do a 3-hour exam at the end, and that's worth 60%. Okay, so you can do this for all of your subjects, and so it's quite interesting to see it, and they'll give you some examples in regard to other information that may help you in timetabling information. Okay, so it's quite a good thing to do is to look at that handbook. You can do that for all of the subjects that you can do at University of Melbourne. You can also do that and have a look at the subjects for Trinity. They will give you information on each of the electives and the core subjects, and you can click on those and it will also tell you how you're going to be assessed. Okay, it's just about being prepared and being able to plan. Okay, any other questions I can help anybody with? Anything else that I can look at for you?
Kira-kira apa ada lagi yang tertarik di bidang lain misalnya? Siapa ayo? Valentino bagaimana? Suka bidang apa? Yes? Yes, sorry?
My baby.
Huh? What, economics? Economics, ya?
I can set.
Huh? Sorry?
I can set.
You what?
Miss,
Can you type it? You can just type it there in the chat box. Yes, Handy?
maybe Valentino like accounting.
Oh, accounting. Okay, yeah. Accounting, right. And then what, who else? Abel. What about Abel?
I can have a look at accounting for you. What I will also do is I'll pop in the chat the little bit about the scholarships that we spoke about before, and it goes through to a link with Trinity and also a link in regard to for Melbourne Uni as well. Like I said before, they're based on academic merit, but we can have a look at that. So that's coming up as the information for scholarships at Trinity, and then the information for scholarships at Melbourne Uni. For the ones at Melbourne Uni, just because there's a larger selection, I'll just share with you, because I've got some time to go through this, a little bit about how it works. So you can have a look at that one. The scholarships one's quite interesting because it comes up with this information, and you can either narrow it down to suit your particular course that you're wanting to study at Melbourne Uni, or you can do a general one. So let's say that you're going to be starting a new course. Obviously, you're an international student. Pardon me. You're doing study, yeah. And then you can actually select the area that you're interested in studying. So because of our students who've been most vocal about commerce and management, so let's pick this one. It then goes through and it gives you different options for different scholarships that are available. Some are specific to a particular country, other ones are generic. So if we're going to be saying we're not sure, just so I can give you a list of what's available. And you can see here, if you go not sure, it's given a list of different subjects, different scholarships that are available for students. You can click on those and find out more information. It has a very clear dates that need to be followed, and it gives you what value, and it gives you about how many are awarded. So you can do this for the different scholarships that are available at Melbourne Uni, okay? But it's not a bad way to have a look at it. I think the key thing is that they are very competitive, and academic merit is usually how they're allocated. And you can see here where it says automatic consideration, that means that there is no separate application form. All students who apply are considered. So we'll just click on that one there, and then it gives you more information about the scholarships. And you can click on that for the benefits, and it goes through about what the process is. Okay. I think the key thing, what I always say to students is it's about doing research. It's about asking lots of questions, whether those are questions that come through with your school and your school counsellor, whether you've got questions for Trinity or questions for Melbourne Uni. It is about asking questions and finding out information. So that's just an example of some scholarships that are available at Melbourne Uni. Any other questions or anything I can help you with? We've just got a couple more minutes left.
What about the tuition fees, Miss?
Sure. So the tuition fees and the University of Melbourne fees, I'll pop them on the chat for you. So the tuition fees for Trinity are based on those different lengths of programs that I spoke about before. So there's different costs for those ones. The way that the cost works for Melbourne Uni is that they give you a band. So they'll say roughly how much it is per year or how much it would be for your course. They don't give you an exact figure, only being that there's sometimes depends on what subjects that you select as to whether they're lower in cost or a little bit higher. But I'll pop that in the chat for you as well. The other thing that you might be interested in is just thinking about accommodation. So there's different options for students in regard to where they live when they come to study in Australia. For students who are under 18, when they come to Trinity College, it is stricter in regard to where you can stay, and that is because your classes are minor and need to have guardianship. But there's recommended places for you to stay that we provide, and we have an accommodation office to assist. At the University of Melbourne, there's a little bit broader in regard to choice. Obviously, you can stay at, because at that stage students are over 18, so you can stay at student apartments, hostels, you can do off campus, you can do on campus, so there's some different options for students. But I'll pop some information in the chat for you as well on that.
Well, so if the students are under 18, they should live with a host family.
It's not necessarily a host family, but there is restrictions on, there's some student accommodation that is provided that actually has that guardianship. But staying with a host family is one way that students can also, different types of accommodation options. Some students have family already in Melbourne, so they decide that they're going to live with family. So it's just looking at different things that it's right for the student. But I'll pop some things in the chat, students, if you're interested in anything along that way. Just one tick.
Right, any questions, guys? Nofi, do you have any questions? You say that you like to do management.
Yes, Miss, about investment.
Oh, investment, okay.
Okay, so it might be also through finance as well. And you could look at doing something that combines the two and do a finance major and a management major. Okay, so that could be something that you look at.
Miss Chris, you can also send me this information so I can post it in our school website.
Yes.
So you can check them out again.
Yep, yeah. I can send you some things as well. Anything else I can help students with?
Any more questions, guys? We still have a couple of minutes.
Doan toh, Miss. Mau nanya, Miss.
Ya, nanya lah, Andi.
Kemon Doan.
Miss,
Oh.
Miss,
Can I
ask what learnings made that student do it Trinity University?
Sorry, what learning?
You've done well, Joan. I just don't quite understand the question.
Sorry. What learnings made that student do it Trinity University?
To Trinity to help them when they. Yeah. Okay. They succeed really well when they do the Trinity and then go on to university, because when you're at Trinity, you are basically taking responsibility for your learning. And so you're getting used to that system of no one tells you that at class like this with your video on at 8 o'clock and maybe following up that you're not here. You need to be responsible to your classes on time, that you are responsible for handing in your assignments and participating in your classes. And that's exactly what happens when you go to university. It's all about you. They're not going to follow you up to make sure that you're passing everything or you're doing everything that you're supposed to do. The assumption is that you are managing your own time and that you are able to take responsibility. And I think that that's what helps with the Trinity program, because it sets students up to transfer really well when they go to the university.
Thank you, Miss. Thank you.
You're welcome. I know it's early and I know it's a lot of information, but like I said before, it's about doing your research, asking questions. If you know somebody that's either been to Trinity or been to University of Melbourne, talk to them, find out about their experiences, ask them for tips, ask them for suggestions, see how they went. And find and ask, just keep asking questions is what I would say.
Right. Any more questions, guys?
Miss,
Yes,
Yeah.
This question is from my friends Wilson.
Oh, from Wilson, okay.
Are in Trinity College have an extracurricular that students can choose?
Students club, eh?
Student clubs? Yes, there are lots of different student clubs that students can participate. Part of that, I suppose, building a sense of community is important for what we do at Trinity. Some clubs are organised by by teachers. Other clubs are actually organised by students. And so there's a lot of different activities that they can get involved with. They do a lot of special events. It's all about, that sense of community. Okay.
How many clubs are there, Miss?
At Trinity?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a bit hard to say. At the moment, you're looking at anywhere around about that 600 to 800 number. Obviously, everybody at the moment, except for a very, very small number, are all offshore in their home country studying. But you're looking at around about that number. Sometimes it obviously goes bigger, but that's about the number at the moment.
Right. Well, actually, the biggest challenge of the students here about academics is about writing essays, because I know this because when I'm teaching them to write the essay, they always have difficulty. And one of the major issues is about the plagiarism. So is there any strict law about plagiarism?
Yes. Super strict at Trinity and Melbourne. Melbourne in particular has very strict rules in regard to what you can and can't do, about how you reference correctly, a whole range of things. What the Trinity program does is it actually teaches you what the skills are that you need to learn to be able to write in your own words, that if you do use the words of somebody else, that you reference correctly depending on the methodology that they're using. So yes, extremely strict. And it takes a skill and practice to be able to write things in your own words and write them for an academic purpose. And so it's an important skill that you need to have. Okay, I think that might be all of the questions, Lenny.
What time is it? Oh, it's 9 already.
Yes, it is. It is. So if there's no other questions, if you think of something afterwards, by all means, you can ask Lenny and then we can follow up with me. I wish you every success, whatever you decide to do, and wherever you decide to go and study. And hopefully the future looks bright for everybody.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Miss Chris, we're recording this one. I hope you don't mind if you put this in our school YouTube channel, because students can replay it again and ask look for some more information if they miss something from this.
Not a
presentation.
problem. Not a problem. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy your day.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day, Miss.
Bye.
Bye. See you.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Miss Chris.
You're welcome. Bye.